Yeah, so this event will be recorded for those that can't attend, or for you, if you're wondering what we talked about and wanted to hear about it, you can listen to that later. So it will be shared. No worries, none of your faces are in the camera. The only thing they're going to be seeing is this screen and my face. So no worries about yourself being recorded for this if you're having any questions or issues for that. But if you did, those who are joining are going to ask questions in the box. For those of you here, if you do have questions, I'll just ask if you can wait till your questions till the very end. We have a time for asking questions from about 12:45 till close to 1. And then some of us in our panel, we can better help answer some of those questions depending on what they are. So for our territorial acknowledgement, very grateful that we work and study in the region south of the Fraser River, overlapping with the unceded territories of the Kwantlen, Musqueam, Katzie, Semiahmoo, Tsawwassen, Queqwat, and Coquitlam peoples. When going abroad, people might also be wondering about identity. Who are you? Where are you from? What's this name Kwantlen? So it is really wonderful that we do have that name Kwantlen connected to the traditional land of the First Nations that were here. That's quite special. For the bit of the agenda, so right now in the beginning, doing some welcome and introductions, lots of the PowerPoint today on the opportunities, scholarships, details on the applications that are coming up, either for any of you working on them or in the future if some of you are just new to first year KPU. And then the end will be the time for more of your questions. And yet you can eat and drink and have some snacks on the side as you please. So for the team, I've introduced Amanda and Juhi. So my manager is Ada Lee. She's upstairs with some of your faculty. My name's Sarah Byrne. So I help with the outbound. So you're a KPU student and maybe interested in going and traveling around the world. Hands up, has anyone been on an airplane and they've loved to travel? Yeah. Yeah, got some hands in the air, people. I'm kind of not from Richmond, so I get a little bit scared here seeing a lot of these very close airplanes coming close to your campus. My colleague Ryan, he's helping with, we've got a number of exchange students. You might even see in some of the classes you have, some of the students are there from our partnered universities, and those are places where you could also go abroad to yourself. Daria, she's downstairs doing a VR station for our International Focus Week. She's working on a number of different projects and also leading this field school. Interior design is going to Barcelona in summer 2020. Field schools they'll talk about, they change each type of year. And Amanda might mention there are certain programs where it is mandatory. Yeah, yeah, like for the interior design students. Leo, who's joining into the virtual today, he's based out of Surrey. I'm also on Surrey campus, but I've come here today for the presentation. He will be speaking about the scholarships and our social media and the alumni. Jas, we hire student assistants in our office. Jas is here. He went abroad to the Netherlands in fall of 2022 and is helping us a lot with everything for study abroad in our team. So next, exploring, dreaming, discovering. So it's really good. There's so many opportunities while you're still a student. Often you might get, and I don't know if the Amanda or Leah might say that 20 years from now, you might regret not taking advantage of all the opportunities for scholarships to get money and all the opportunities that for exchange or things while you're still a student. So thinking about today, given this information, all the types of opportunities you can think and kind of dream about what's possible for go away and think about that, discover it, and then we can talk about the details and planning to make it possible. All right, so top reason, definitely expanding your horizons. We're in Canada is very multicultural, and in every program that you're studying, knowing about what it is, not just from the faculty here in Canada and at KPU, but having the chance to know and take those courses from outside this country, courses maybe that are not offered here, having that perspective and living experience abroad really enhances those intercultural competencies that are looked at in the soft skills on resumes for jobs in the future. Lasting friendships that you can have, in-demand skills, and the network there, as well as having access to the scholarships and support that our office has that is no longer available when you're no longer a student. So lots of really good benefits. So in some questions about what, where, and when. So I've broken it down to make it specific. You can take some notes or you can take some photos of the screens here. We have more details on our website, kpustudyabroad.ca. And for the main thing for exchange semester, it is looking at about 24 credits, so around your second year. Minimum GPA 2.5. If you do have some concerns, maybe you have 2.4 or 2.3, those are things you can talk about and we can see what it is. And always good if you're ever having questions and anything in your mind of concerns, just we can talk about it in an advising appointment and then see if we can help for anything. And then important that for any experience you do come back to KPU, because after coming back, that's when you'll need to work with the transfer credit and then prepare for the graduation. There are short-term type of programs. I'll talk about where it could be more convenient for you instead of going for a full semester, to just go for a 2-week program. There is those options as well. So in that exchange, 1 semester, a full year gets a little bit more difficult in your programs of Wilson School Design. It has been possible with some exceptions with some students, but it takes careful planning with your academic advisor and approval of your chair to do a full, but 1 semester is the possibility. Now, that's where going, if you are really interested, you want to take those classes over in England, you're really interested in the opportunity of taking schooling there with a passport. If you don't have, or even I have a British passport, I can't take classes there under the domestic fees unless you're a resident. So it's often quite costly to take courses abroad with international student fees that can be 3 times the amount. So makes it cheaper because every one of our partners, you can then take them at KPU fees. So say you take 4 classes here, the amount you pay for 12 credits would be the same amount you would pay in Australia. So you wouldn't have to pay their international fees. So that's more affordable. And also if you're a student that takes out student loans, we also, all our partners are verified around the world with BC's student loans, so they're eligible for you to also get it covered. So there's more support that make it accessible through the exchange. Now these are the upcoming deadlines. February 27th for fall 2024. So if you want to be at this time next year abroad, that will be the date to remember, or June 15th for spring 2025. And I'll talk about which one might be better for you, depending on when you works with your program and when is best for you personally for going abroad. Field schools, so they're the short week programs. And that's where you go as a group. So right now, the interior design is going with the program lead. So the faculty instructors design that program. So they change each year depending on what they come up with. So they may have a new one next year. They went to Amazon, maybe they went to Colombia, this year to go to Barcelona. So 2025 hasn't been decided yet. It will be always announced in the fall. And so only 2024 has been announced and the deadline just already passed. So the next one for 2025 will be announced in the fall of 2024. Summer schools, short type of programs. If you're, say, not in a bachelor degree, maybe you're only doing a certificate or diploma program. I know some people are doing that in fashion. There are some recommended short-term summer schools, or maybe just want to go for 2 weeks. Those are option 2. These are ones that we have with some of our partners, and more of them are being developed now and will be announced in December, January. With the deadline around February, it could be extended if we have later programs, but there are also really exciting opportunities abroad. There's also different kinds of virtual types of programs, either internships or extracurricular if you're interested in learning languages. We do those kind of sessions as well. So this is important information for all of you. As you are in cohort programs, I know it is the concern, if I go away and I leave my cohort, can I still come back after that semester, continue with my cohort, and graduate with them? And it is yes. Juhui's an example that she did, and you've come back into her program. It takes also careful planning with your academic advisors. You're making sure that you're in the plan for graduation and you're taking the right courses abroad, and then communication with the chair when we look at getting those courses approved and making sure that even if they don't cover all the information, that you can still maybe take some extra understanding of some work with them so you can catch up still with the class returning, which some of our students are doing now. So highlight here, if you are a 3rd year, 5th semester interior design student, that would fall February the 27th is the deadline for your application. If you are in spring of either 3rd year, 6th semester fashion, or 2nd, 4th semester graphic products or interior, June 15th will be your deadline for spring 2025 to go abroad. Okay, is that clear? Any other questions or issues on this at this time? Yes. So June 15th is the spring deadline for either this or this. February 27th for fall 2024, if you are this. Yeah. And that would be spring 2025, so the next application cycle. So if you are in that diploma program, summer is the only time you could go, as you're in a shorter time and just those elective types of classes. We do have some, like our partner in France, Toulouse, and Barcelona. They were offering some French fashion and marketing, really interesting types of courses. They might come up with something similar. Our partner, I'm fashion. I have actually one student just accepted who's going to go there for spring 2024 in fashion. England has some good courses for graphic design, advertising, and fashion for 2-week types of programming, if you just wanted to go then as well. Okay, so where to go? So we have developed a lot of partners around the world. It does depend more on where you study in your degree program and what partners are having the same program that you can take courses from. And then your personal interest, maybe because you are going to spend about 4 months there, that you are interested in that language. All our partners do know English and have those language there. Sometimes it could be like going to Austria or South America, their English is their second language, but they have tutors and help, and it's always good to then learn that language and adding it on to your resume. So this is a big list that might help you here. I'll let you look at that while I also try to find my time. Okay, perfect. Out of the bag, did I write it down? Let's go. Yeah.
Last summer. I like this chart, very helpful.
So All right, so I'll just go let you have a look at this so it kind of helps you plan. These are the courses. So right now, for example, I have a product design student going for spring 2024 to Australia. Australia's got a lot of options, either RMIT, Swinburne, and Melbourne, Perth, Edith Cohen. Also, Austria New Design, interior design student is there right now. She's been taking some trips over to Italy, exploring the historic areas in Austria. It's very beautiful. We have had in the past alumni go over for GDMA to Denmark, but right now my graphic design marketing student is heading to Spain. Elisava has some really good programs for product design, interior design a bit, but mostly really good for graphic design and marketing. Finland, Mexico, Poland, Taiwan. So also working with student in fashion, heading over to Taiwan. We have also a student from Taiwan here at this time. England has really good options here. Lancashire, Creative Arts, and Leeds. These are in kind of the middle, a little bit northern part of the UK, but it's always easy whenever you're in Europe to take a bus or train to get anywhere, traveling around and exploring the cities. And then we have really exciting options in also South America, Dominican Republic, Uruguay here. So this is good to think about when it comes to all those where interests you in those types of countries, exploring somewhere new, and knowing what relates to your program. So we also have some through UMAP. So UMAP expands out more partnerships. They aren't as close with design programs, but there could be possibilities there. This is just one that has a little bit more for arts and business, but it does have a lot of options for short-term types of cultural programs, a few for exchange, and then also a lot of options for scholarships. So when it comes to all of these experiences, I mentioned that you would need to be a full-time student going abroad. So that's taking between the 9 to 15 credits. So minimum would be 3, but maximum would be 5 classes. And so thinking about that tuition, then of course there's the flight to get to the country, but you have a little bit more affordable if you are spending time per semester. Living expenses, often some of the students have said it's cheaper than in Vancouver. And then when staying there, around the estimate to think of is close to 10,000-ish of dollars. So it's thinking of that flight, the tuition, and your living expenses for the 4 to 5 months. So for that, on the scholarship side, Leo is here to talk about the funding. Now, these are the funding opportunities to apply through our international office. Leo, can you?
Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Perfect. We'll just take it over to introduce more about the funding part. Thank you, Sarah, for sharing about the mobility programs we offered here at KPU Study Abroad. So a lot of people or students, when they think about studying abroad and participating in international experience, I think one of the concerns is the finance and the cost involved in this whole entire experience. But we do want you to know, either you are a domestic or international student, we have your back and we have funding available and established for you to go international and then go global. So here are some of the funding opportunities we have here. If I can have the next slide, Sarah. So we start with the AGLAS, aka Access to Global Learning Award. And it's important to know we got the funding from the CICAN's GSO, and award values can vary based on the program's length and if they are in-person or virtual. So for the long-term programs, such as if you're thinking about going abroad for exchange, it can be either 5,000 or 8,000. So it goes up to 80,000. And for other short-term programs, it can vary from 200 to 3,000. As what I mentioned, is really depends on the length of the program and if it's physical or virtual. And it's important to note it's available to only domestic students. I'm sorry about that. It's only available to domestic students, and we're targeting two groups of students. And the first group is students who are in low income status and students with disabilities or indigenous students. And the second category is actually students going abroad at non-traditional destinations. And by non-traditional destinations, we're talking about areas other than the UK, USA, Australia, and France. So application deadline is due the same day as the study abroad program you're applying for. For example, if you're applying for exchange and the deadline is February 15th, I think the scholarship deadline will be due on the same day as February 15th. If I can have the next slide. Thank you, Sarah. And the next award is actually called GuardMe Global Mobility Fund, and we got the funding from the Government International Insurance, and it's available to both domestic and international students. This is the only award we have here right now for international students, and the amount goes up to 2,000, and we do have students receiving it to go abroad and support their international experience. As what we have stressed earlier, the application deadline will be due the same time as the study abroad program you're applying for. And the next one is One World International Scholarship. We got the generous funding from the BC Scholarship Society, and it's also only available to domestic students, and it's supporting the students going abroad to the destinations outside of Canada and the United States. So some students are thinking about if they're going abroad in the States, if they can be eligible for this scholarship. And the answer will be no, because it states very clear from the society, it has to be outside of Canada and the United States of America, and it's also only available to domestic students. The award will vary from 2,000 to 5,000, and really depending if you are getting the credits from the international experience you are going for. And yeah, the application deadline will also be due the same time as the study abroad program you are applying for. And last one is Premier International Scholarships. We also got funding from the BC Scholarship Society. This is more the funding that is external because it's administered and assessed by the Scholarship Society directly. But it's a really high award value. It goes from 8,000 to 12,000. So once the award application is open, we usually notify students who are going abroad, and they can be thinking about it going to apply for it, but it's only available to domestic students only. And application deadline for 2024 will be decided and will be reviewed very soon, maybe next year in January, but we will update our website when it's open again. And we do have other external awards provided by our partner universities and different institutions. For example, the SAFA Awards, it's the Student Finance Award department here at KPU. They do provide some scholarships and awards available to students. For example, the Leadership Awards or the student loans. And the BCSA stands for BC Study Abroad. Annually, they will have some competitions for students to join in and to win some scholarship awards. And we also have generous support from our partner institutions. And for example, the Think Swiss is a business program, and our partner in the Switzerland, they provide scholarships for our students. And HUF is in Seoul. It's Hankook University of Foreign Studies. They also provide scholarships and awards for our students going to their partner institution to study. So there are many awards available from our partner institutions and other sources as well. So just to summarize, in short, both domestic and international students can apply for our awards. They're all available, but it's also true that domestic students, they do get more access to more awards because we want to encourage more Canadian students going abroad and having that international experience. And the second point I want to stress is that if you have received some of the awards we indicated before, there might be some limitations for you to receive them again. So I would highly recommend, if you're thinking about reapplying some awards we have identified earlier, it's important that you check with your coordinator about your eligibility to reapply them and maybe to re-accept them again in the coming future. But if you have any questions about the funding part, I will be more free and available to answer at the end of this presentation.
Thank you so much, Leo. Just highlighting a little bit, even if you aren't thinking for study abroad, the SAFA is where for student loans, always good if you're in a financial situation to go to their office and they can really help you with more scholarships and information on that. I just had pulled in one person. I know you probably have to go, but if you could just say a few words before you leave of who you are, what you study, where you went, and what your tips to people are here.
Yeah, so I went to Melbourne, Australia last semester, and I'm in the graphic design for marketing program. My name's Georgia, and yeah, I would say if you're thinking of going abroad, just do it. Even if you have lots of doubts or anything, you're always going to have doubts. So I would say just go for it, definitely. And Sarah's always available and helpful with any questions you might have. So yeah, if you have any questions specifically for me, you can always get in touch with Sarah, and then I don't mind.
Do we have graphic design marketing students in the room? Yeah, so a few of you, Georgia might give you some tips as a senior student in your program. Thank you.
No.
Yeah. And so I'll move on, just thinking about what the next steps are. So say you are interested, you know those deadlines are coming up for February and for June for the application. And what is the application? So it would be number one, having the advising appointment. First, making sure you're on track with Amanda. You know exactly what you need for graduation, what you would need for that semester going abroad, and then advising appointment with me so that we can start to narrow down your first and second choice institution, where you want to go, your top two, and which semester that is. And then a little bit more on your personal information on the application just for applying on our Move On system. Thinking about the budget, Leo went over about how there's scholarships. Maybe you're not sure if you want to apply for the scholarships or take out student loan, but completing this kind of as an estimate, it's always just a summary, seeing what your income is, what the expenses are, how you compare that. It might help to give your first and second choice. Oh, I'm thinking about, should I go to England? Should I go to Australia? So putting in what are some of the costs for those different places might also help you decide which one you prefer to go to. Or it could be the study plan. Maybe you really like, you start looking into what that program looks like at that country and university, and then all the courses they offer, and then seeing ones that look similar. Or we have also a database. So like the courses Georgia took at Swinburne, they could work the same for another student going to the same place. Same for Juhui and product design. If anyone wanted to go to her destination, some of those courses still work. So we have that database, but if it's any new courses, then they would be reviewed and just need to be confirmed that they kind of are similar. And then your program chair is in approval. So that faculty, we're just asking for one reference. When it comes to the number of students from your program, we haven't had any restrictions on that, and we're really happy for the support for all of your chairs to allow students to go. When it comes to our partners, we might have, depending on the balance with the partner, maybe we can only send 2 students to UCA, but maybe another student could go to Lancashire, or one student could go to RMIT in Australia, the other to Swinburne. So it just depends on what our balance is, and that's why it's always good to have first and second choice when you apply. Yeah, you're welcome to come in. Yeah, we're just finishing up on the application for study abroad. So this is really important too, knowing what your interest is, like why do you want to go there, how that's going to help. Similar to these questions, statement of interest, faculty reference, and unofficial transcript, those same documents will be needed for the scholarship applications. So Leo will be having any questions for those ones. And then any, you are all design students, so you would need to have either a website or a PDF of your portfolio. For this main application. It's just I need to see that you have it. And then later on, when you are accepted and you're looking at getting those courses at the partner institution, they'll ask for it in a bit more detail just to make sure you've met the prerequisites and have the knowledge to get into the classes at there. And so they'll look at that portfolio to see where you act as you come into their university, into your second or third year type programs. So if you're doing a short term, it would be a bit less. There's more applications in the exchange program. And as I was saying, for the scholarship, they are similar. The reference letter could be the same. You just would need to have 2 reference letters. They could be from the faculty. I'm asking for a faculty reference best if your chair does, and always if you're interested in going is always letting your chair know, because your chair, I know in Wilson School of Design likes to keep track of where students are interested in going and expressing it to them. They'll be more supportive for your study plan and helping you for that. As well as just that short essay similar to what you would have done for your statement of interest, unofficial transcript not paid. It comes in, like Leah was saying, same date as the application deadline. So when we get your application to go abroad and your scholarship application, they would be reviewed by the committee. Then you would be let know about the offer, what your acceptance is to which the first or second choice, and then what the scholarship could be if you were applying for scholarship, and then you have a decision to accept or not. And then we would work to put you in contact with the partner and then preparing for that. So I did a timeline of that so you can see how it works in a timeline here. So working up, if you set this fall 2024, I believe it was the 3rd year interior design, February 27th, apply, or June 15th for that spring application. Right now we're doing some promo, and then you'll get your application in. Then after that time, you get the acceptance. We'll be nominating you. We'll be working on the courses, getting them approved and assessed. We'll be working on a detailed application to the partner until you get their formal acceptance. Some places you might need to get a visa to go to if you're going to Australia, so you can get a bit, like Georgia was working part-time when she was living there. If you go to the UK, you might not need to. So they'll be working on more of that in this time. So then for my next student, pre-departure is happening. So in 2 weeks, I'm just working right now to prepare a pre-departure for students heading for spring 2024. And that could be the same for you if you were going spring 2025. We'll be working, we have a lot of support. So I know I've worked with some students who've maybe never left Canada before. And so going on an experience while you're a student through our program with other student support and our office support, as well as the connections we have to the other country support. We have a Moodle course that goes through that to help prepare you, risk management, wellness, everything for going and living abroad. If you require documents, get some KPU swag, a shirt. We've got some other items that we give away to students as well. Then you go. All our students have been having a really good time abroad and completing their studies, and then coming back to KPU as alumni, which Judy is here as an alumni for our study abroad program. So in that, Judy, do you want to also share a little bit, like Georgia, what some of your tips are, what you really enjoyed about going abroad and your program?
I can start with tips for processing. From my experience, reaching out when there's like a problem in like processing like application, reaching out to SARA or any staff that are helping international is the best step, because from my experience, I was waiting for them to reply for me, but then I had to keep reaching out to make it happen like without problem and caution. And then so I went to RMIT Australia, Melbourne. The tip that I would give for Australia or any country will be, before you go to the country, check the weather they have, especially because when I went to Australia, it was 34 degrees. And I had all my carry-on and backpack, and I had to reach to the new place that I never went to. And it was not great first day of my exchange. But after that it was good. Yeah, but yeah, after all, yeah, plan all the events that you want to go into, especially because you will be busy with your study also. So plan before you go to the country that you wanted, and then where to visit, like zoo or any stuff. Check the time and also, yeah, that's all the tips. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, it's a really good tip about preparing, looking. Some students have said following the social media of those countries, exploring what it's like, talking to friends or family if they've ever been to those countries might help you get an idea of what it's like. Otherwise, it's adapting when you get there and then maybe having to go with the flow and ask for help. But always, if you have any doubts, like Georgia or Judy were saying, just not to hold them in, just email, or we can talk about them in an advising appointment and then work through them. Leo has been working on some details for alumni. Leo, do you want to share a bit about this?
Yeah, of course. We have a community called Alumni Community, and we try to connect all of the study abroad students together, and we provide a lot of benefits for this community because we want to first is to build the connections among them, and then we also share a lot of useful information in the industry, and we post a lot of internal job opportunities among this circle. So there are many benefits of becoming a KPU study abroad alumni, and it can go with you even after your graduation. As you can see, the three students, Jazz, Joe, and Erin, they're all our KPU study abroad alumni, and they're all in this community. So if you are thinking about going abroad even afterwards, these can be the people for you to reach out if you are going to, maybe same as Jazz went to the Netherlands, and maybe you can reach out to them and they will be available to help you as well.
Yeah, I'll also highlight here, if any of you are on Instagram, this is our Instagram at KPU Study Abroad. That's where we post about upcoming scholarship deadlines and all those alumni posts. The recent post was from, we had a student, Umar, who's in Barcelona, who's doing kind of a day of the life of when he's on exchange right now there. Some of the other testimonials we've had for this student in product design who went to Denmark. Lots of great things in Europe. They've got a lot of exchange throughout Europe with Erasmus. If you get into that, even as coming as an outside from Canada into Europe, you can join in and then travel around. Some of our students were saying and really get a sense of Europe while abroad. We've got, lost my mouse. Here we go. The student went to Colombia. So really good testimonial and advice afterwards she gave was about leaving your comfort zone. So maybe here you are in a comfort zone, but she really encourages and really states for herself how she appreciates pushing herself out of her comfort zone, exploring. She went to Colombia. So that was our first student to Colombia, and she had an amazing time in Bogota. And lots of things that, of course, she said there may be embarrassing things. You say the wrong thing in the other language or something there, but there'll always be memories and stories to tell for future when traveling. Natanya was in Australia. She's got lots of feedback there. Shelby, Georgia, who went in here, she also wrote a little bit of tips for other students. Like Shelby, really good advice saying that it's really good you're here in attendance. And then a little bit each time of planning does help in the long term. So everything doesn't just build up on the application all at once. So if you have those questions, thinking about those application documents or the scholarships, a little bit at a time for the deadline does help, and then we'll review them afterwards. Emmy, who went to Japan, says, don't be afraid to ask any questions. And then always think about those scholarships, even if you don't think you can qualify. It's always good to at least try. So next, if you have done an experience and you are an alumni, or maybe you are just curious of not going on exchange, but just getting involved and learning more interculturally, we have a global buddy program. We pair up. Juhi, were you a buddy?
Yeah.
Yes?
I was,
Yeah. Do you want to say what you did for your program? Yeah. As in this buddy program?
yes. So I had two students that I was with. I didn't really much did organizing as I think Patrick did most of them. But then one of them was from Australia, who I met again when I was in exchange during. And yeah, and then we just tour some Vancouver around and then meet in the because they were fashion. One was fashion design and one was in fact Surrey. So we had like a some time in like cafe and we talked about how different culture they have. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's a good experience. Like I got one student in fashion who's going to Taiwan. So she's a buddy to an incoming student from Taiwan right now. So it's really good being a part of the buddy program, even if, so then maybe you're thinking about that and you get it on your resume that you were and network with some of our incoming international students that are coming to here. So this kind of concludes the end of the presentation. If you do have more questions, you can make an appointment with me, Sarah Byrne, on Advisor Connect. My availability is on there for online or in person. If you need to change, I would be on Surrey, but online can be convenient. Emails, international programs, and our Instagram at Study Abroad right there. So thank you all for joining. It's so wonderful to see such a great attendance, and also thank you for helping with the room booking and the communications to get all these students to here. We have now our question period. So your question period could either be for me or it could be for Amanda, anything that's academic related, or will team answer that, or to Juhi if there's anything as a student side. Yes.
When we're looking at going to a specific country or school and we're working with advising and study abroad, do you guys take into consideration safety for us? Because obviously culture and politics are different everywhere you go. So, you know, there's some places, let's say, are more friendly for men or for women, or like this place would maybe not be good to go if you're queer. Because even looking at the list of the universities that we're partnered with, one of them that stood out as far as the name goes aligns with a religion that is typically semi-homophobic. So is that something that you would take into consideration in advising us of like, hey, if this is your gender expression or this is your identity, like maybe don't go to this place. Because while the school might be okay, the culture of that place might be quite difficult for you to navigate and be more supplements.
So when it comes, and thank you for raising this question, it's one that is discussed through all students as well as coordinators in my position when we think about the safety, and we discuss that in groups that are with people. My role throughout all of Canada, as well as coordinators who work internationally, to see how the situation is. When it comes firstly to the destinations, when it comes to that pick, that is the student's choice. So it is your choice where you want to make your first and second choice. If there's information or questions you have on the particular destination, I can be there to help research that and provide some information on it. Or any concerns, we can ask it to the partner. What sort of supports do you have there? I know I've had some other students where it could be, yes, what does it look like coming from different representations or even different learning disabilities, and students are wondering what that looks like. So we can reach out to them to see what it looks like there. And then that decision would then be up to the student themselves to decide, and then we would be there to support and guide through our pre-departure. But we always ask students to pick a top first and second choice in case there are more elevated concerns that come up, that there's a backup to go to. Yeah. But particularly with the one that you're raising, maybe I can talk more about that in another appointment with you. Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
If you have a disability, you want to apply for disability related funding, do you go towards SACA or Peak International if you want to learn more about like what we need to like prove for that person to have a disability?
So first, with those applications that for funding that Leo was sharing about, like for example, this Access to Global Learning Award, it comes from the federal government, and they are the ones that put the value amount and put it towards more money to those with a low income or student with disability. That is self-declared. So it is that the higher amount goes to someone in that category 1. If it is, you are thinking about low income on the application, there's a budget worksheet. And definitely if you are in debt or take out student loans, then you would be more of a low income student as you are in debt. If it is with disability, students with disability, we would often be with accessibility services and have an accessibility letter that helps with accommodation requests for the classroom. That would just be something that we would ask if possible. Everything is up to each student of what they're happy to share. But for the past students that I helped with who had either medical conditions or learning disabilities, it was helpful because once we got that, then we knew what supports to discuss with the partner so that the transition to an academic life abroad could be smoother. Yeah. Yeah, question?
Yeah. Financial support age restriction.
No, I had a student who was over 60, went to Japan. Yeah, yeah.
Mature students are welcome.
Yes, yeah. So nothing on there, only if you are like, I even had a student who maybe the age was different with the younger, like going to Japan, they would say like, okay, here 19 is an adult, right? Or but maybe 18 or 16, you could drink alcohol in Germany, but over there maybe it's 21. So they'll have younger as long as you're not, but we always ask that you need to be at least second year. Then for the age, no worries on that. I'm working with quite a few senior students, and KPU, I think, has also designated as a campus that is very inclusive for mature students as well. Yeah. So for some of these, and I wonder, Leo, if you want to answer that when it comes to these ones for PR or citizen for domestic fees. If you are international, it's there. International student is here who's non-PR. It would only be this one. But Leo, do you want to say anything about that when it comes to being domestic? Is that PR Canadian?
Yes, so what do we mean by PR domestic students when we put the term in the slides that we mean either you're PR permanent resident or you are Canadian citizenship, or if you are for the One World Scholarship, a refugee or under protective status here in Canada. More information will be more specific on our website, but if you're an international student, as we have shared earlier, the GuardMe Global Mobility Fund will be available for you. If you are PR, if you are a citizen, or if you're a refugee, there will be more funds that we shared here in the slides available for you.
So yeah, either you have your passport is to Canada, or if it's also to another country other than Canada, but you have a PR, that is under the domestic fees when you're paying tuition. And then when it comes to travel, you are definitely traveling with the passport that is of the country and dealing with any immigration and visa, depending on what that passport is and where you're going to. Does that answer your question? Any other questions people have here? I think we're getting close to, we've got some time, so we're pretty on schedule. Any questions for Amanda? Amanda, maybe you want to give some tips to students in this.
Well, I feel like you nailed it. I think like the application process is really nicely laid out. So just to give you an idea of like what I would look for when we're meeting, so I think that's one of, probably the first step is because you probably want to see like, okay, do I have room for electives that I want to maybe do abroad? And that kind of opens up the different classes that you could take abroad, or do I need to find like, I don't know, a specific like semester. So like if you're in the fashion program, if you need to be following that specific semester, and maybe you've already completed your elective. So we would look at that. And then afterwards, I think you'd meet with Sarah to kind of talk about which destinations you're wanting to go to, which ones you're interested in, which is super fun. That's one thing that I wish that I did, because I also am an alumni of KPU. So that's one thing that I wish I did, is take advantage of the study abroad opportunities, because they are really awesome, and you do get to pay like your KPU tuition fees, which is huge. So yeah.
And then MAP. So if anyone gets
Yeah.
confused about the term MAP, you
Yeah.
can go to.
Yeah, so the map would be your My Action Plan. You all have access to that. If you're not sure what that is, you're also more than welcome to book an appointment with me. And that's one of the first things that I do, is we go over your map. And that kind of helps us identify where you'd be able to also go abroad, and what kind of classes you need to transfer back.
Yeah,
Any
so
questions?
I might just say, so on our main website, I just like try to pull it up. If you were to go, just to highlight, this is our main web page for any of you that have been there. This is where you'd go to see a little bit more details on the funding and scholarships that Leo had said. And this is the page for exchange that lists those details of the semester, if you forget what it was and you have any questions, as well as the deadlines right here. And then all the links for if you're having questions about what the institutions are like, all can be clicked in on this page here. And then the application at the end, all the details are submitted right there. Okay. So very good to meet all of you. Thank you for joining.